Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest, and I welcome back a very special guest. She recently finished up her college hockey career with Mercyhurst and was recently selected in the NWHL draft by the Toronto Six. She is also one of the nicest people you will ever meet, so I welcome back to the podcast, Rachel Marmen. How's everything going?
Thank you. It's going good. My summer's going well. It's been nice to have a break from hockey and to be back home with my family because COVID, I wasn't able to see my family for quite a bit. So it's great to be back home.
Well, that's good to hear. And yeah, overall, how's your summer going? And has there been anything interesting you have done, whether it's hockey or non-hockey related?
This summer got a puppy with my boyfriend. So I've been keeping busy with our puppy. She keeps us up at night. And then I've just been going to the cottage and keeping warm in the weather and then spending time with family because I missed out on that last year. So
That's awesome.
yes.
And what type of dog did you get?
I got a mini golden doodle. Her name's Blakely. She's really cute.
Oh, that's awesome. And is it weird, like trying to take care of a dog, I guess, for the first time? Because I had a dog before, and when I was a kid, you don't really see like how much hard work it takes to put in to train the dog and then like to also take care of it as well.
Yeah, so growing up, I had two dogs, and then they passed away, and then I knew I always wanted a dog. And then when I got her, she was a little more work than I thought, but nothing I couldn't handle. I guess the hardest part was her not listening to me, and then now she finally listens to me, but that took about a month.
Well, that's good. That's good. And what's the dog's name? I'm just curious.
Her name's Blakely.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that name?
I don't even know. Me and my boyfriend were looking online at names, and I don't know, Blakely stood out to us. We had a couple names we were picking from, and then I guess we just went with Blakely.
Yeah, no, that's a good dog name. I feel like it's kind of weird when you give a dog kind of like a more human name like Steve or something like that. So I think that's a really good choice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, one thing that did happen to you this summer was you were just drafted in the NWHL draft by the Toronto Six. I got to ask you, where were you when you found out that news, and what was your reaction to that?
Oh yeah, so 2 weeks before the draft, I was actually in the car stuck in traffic driving up north to the cottage, and I got a phone call from the head coach saying he wanted to draft me and stuff, and I was like, oh, really? And because I wasn't really gonna I wasn't gonna play hockey, and then he called me and he's like, well, even if you're not playing hockey, we're still gonna draft you. But I didn't know where I was gonna be drafted or anything. So then 2 weeks later, and I'm at home having dinner, and then that's when I got the news that I was actually drafted. I didn't know he was gonna draft me still, but then he ends up still drafting me. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and how cool was it to be announced by PK Subban as well?
Oh, that was probably one of the best parts of it all. It was when he said my name, it was kind of cool, and everyone I think looks up to him. He's a big ambassador for hockey and younger kids, and it was really cool that he said my name.
Now, I don't know if you're a Montreal or Toronto fan, but did that change anything at all about that? Because I feel like I'm a big Bruins fan, so I think it'll be a bit weird if like a Canadiens player announced my name for a draft.
No, I didn't really. Well, growing up, my one grandparents were Leafs fans, then my others were Montreal fans. So I was always in the middle. But I'm a diehard Leafs fan. But no matter what, even if he was on the Habs, I like him as a player.
Yeah, and he did play with he's obviously on the Devils and played with Nashville as well. So he isn't just known for playing for Montreal. So that's something to consider as well.
Yes.
Now, what are your plans, I guess, after college? And do you plan to play with the Six in the future, or are you still not unsure about that right now?
So before even COVID happened and we had another year of playing hockey in college hockey, I was already had a job. I had a job interview last August, and for an accounting firm here in Canada. So I'm working for an accounting firm called Grant Thornton, and I'm working to become a certified public accountant. And then, so that takes about 3 years to become in Canada. So I start school in a month while I work. And then I was going to be done hockey. So when I got that call saying, they're going to draft me, it put in my head that maybe I should keep playing hockey. But then I was going to be way too busy. So right now, if anything, I'd be a substitute. If a player gets injured, I'd go play with them, but I'm not going to be a full time with them.
Well, at least you still have somewhat hockey plans in the future, I guess, which is good to see. But so as a substitute, like when do you find out you're going to play, or like how does that all work?
Well, it's just really um, if say someone gets hurt and they call me up, then I can either say I can play for them or I can't. Like it's not like definite thing for me to do with them. It's just in case they ever need a player, and if I happen to be not busy, then I could just substitute for that player.
So it's like an emergency, like goalie situation.
Yeah.
So it's not like a contract you have to sign. They just call
No,
you.
no.
Oh, okay, okay, that's cool. I didn't even know they had that in the NWHL, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So does each team get like 5 substitute players they can call from, or is it just whoever's
Well,
around?
I think it's just with the players they draft, they have an option if some of the players can't play, because a lot of these girls work because the hockey doesn't pay for it, can't pay for our living. So a lot of them work, and sometimes they can't make games and stuff, or emergency comes up. So then you have to call other people up.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, no. So especially since there's no like minor league for the NWHL, so that makes sense. So well, that'll be cool if you get the opportunity to play with the six, and I can't wait to see you play if that opportunity comes. But I want to talk to you about your college hockey season that you just went through, because you went through one of the strangest seasons anyone has ever experienced with the pandemic going around. What was your secret through getting through all those challenges, and how would you evaluate your senior year overall?
I think the secret for us was not for our team was not getting ahead of ourselves and worrying about what could happen in the future, like if we were going to get shut down again. Because I think at the beginning of our season in August, when we every week our games kept getting canceled, a lot of us were too worried about if we're going to play or not, which impacted like our attitude on the ice. Which I think we eventually, come Christmas time when our season actually started, we realized we just have to take it day by day and not worry too much ahead. And then personally, my senior year, I think I had one of my best seasons. Um, I think I was very consistent this year, and I was positive also because I knew it was going to be my last year playing college hockey. So I just wanted to make the best of it.
Yeah, no, that's something was always in the back of your head. Like, I guess, like, because I feel like when you're a senior, you're always thinking, like, this could be my last game, especially in this past season with all the schedule changes and postponements that happen. So, where you're just kind of just taking every game, game by game, and just trying to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, because it was like bittersweet because my family couldn't even be there. So I was trying to just enjoy everything, no matter what I was doing, my practices, being with the team. Like I just try to enjoy every moment I could.
Now, in the CHA playoffs this past season, you lost to Robert Morris. Just talk a little bit about that game and what did you take away from it overall?
Oh, that was a tough game for us. I think our team altogether, we probably didn't have our best game when it should have been our best game of the season. Our goalie played amazing that game. I think something that the team could take away from that is really you can't take any team for granted or anything. I think everyone has to be on their A game, and it can't just be one line or a couple players. Everyone has to be ready to go. So I think that was a big thing that contributed to the loss of that game.
Yeah, and obviously last year you beat Robert Morris in the CHA championship, and you won it in overtime. So I guess like being on the flip side of that, does losing in overtime hurt more than losing in regulation, especially in a playoff game like that?
Oh yeah, it does, because you're just so close to winning, and then one goal and it's game over. Where in regular time, it's you have a chance to, if a goal goes in, then you can rebound, or if one mistake happens, then you can fix that mistake. But in overtime, if you make one mistake, it costs you the game.
Yeah, no, and obviously thinking about Robert Morris and what happened to them after that game happened. As a Mercyhurst player, I guess I want to get your reaction on their program being canceled and how you think it's going to affect the CHA.
Oh, I felt so bad for them. Especially I knew a lot of girls on the team, and if I was in that situation, that would suck. Especially how they were told the news. And being a Mercyhurst member, that's one of the best teams to play. That's our big rivalry. And it sucks not having them in the league anymore. So I really hope that Robert Morris and their president figures out them so they can come back, because there'll be a miss in the CHAs for sure.
Yeah, as a fan, just watching the Mercyhurst and Robert Morris games, those were so much fun to watch because they're never blowouts. They're always close games. And does playing an opponent like that from your perspective elevate your game even more? Like those are the games you circle on the calendar when you look at the schedule?
Oh yeah, those games are so fun to play, especially because it's more physical.
Hmm.
And it's so fun, and there's like a lot of chirping on the ice, so it's just a fun game. And those are the games where when they come to Mercyhurst, they're normally sold out games, so the fans love watching us play them.
Now, speaking of the fan aspect of it, I feel like I asked you this earlier, but what was it like to not play in front of any fans, and how did you adjust to that, thinking back to it after the season was just ended?
Well, it was hard, especially because a lot of us, our family is from Canada, so none of our parents or family members could be there, which was really hard at the beginning. But I think as we grew as a team, we were able to build chemistry together and be our own fans for each other and build energy, and not it just felt normal not to have fans there anymore. So I think we just like learned how to deal without fans.
Yeah, and obviously bringing that energy on the bench, that's something I saw from your team. When there was a block shot, bench went crazy. Obviously, when there was a goal scored, bench went even crazier. Was that something your team was preaching in the locker room before games, just like bring that energy on the bench, and maybe it can help translate the on-ice performance as well?
Yes, that's something in August when we had team builders and stuff that we really set for our team, that we were going to do that throughout the year. And even so that people could build confidence, because a lot of girls sometimes don't have confidence in the game, or if they're having a bad game. So we wanted to cheer on even the little things throughout the game so that the game could be more fun for everyone.
Yeah, and confidence is something that's easy to lose, but it's hard to gain, especially during the season. So doing those little things will help grow your confidence, which ultimately makes you a better player.
Yes.
Now, how did you handle being away from your family for such a long time? Because that's very difficult for me to even comprehend. But for yourself, not being able to see your family, having your family not being able to come to games, how did you like handle that whole situation?
It was really hard at first, especially because it was my senior year and all I wanted was my family to be there, but they couldn't. So, but I had the girls, and we're all going through the same thing. So we had each other, and we really just made the best out of it. And we couldn't think too much about our family not being there because we couldn't change it. So I think we just took the positive out of it, and we focused on that instead of worrying about why our parents couldn't be there, and just how we were so lucky to be even playing hockey.
Yeah, that's like the big thing that a lot of players would tell me what they took away was like there was a lot of schools that weren't able to play and a lot of junior leagues that weren't able to play as well. So just being grateful to even play the sport they love, no matter if there was fans in the stands or not. But obviously it's better with fans in the stands and to see your family and share those moments with your family as well, especially when you win championships.
Yes.
Now, you were an assistant captain last year as well. How would you evaluate your leadership skills from this past season? Because last time I had you on the podcast, you said you wanted to set a good example for your teammates and be that good vocal leader in the locker room with the other assistant captains.
I think this year being an assistant captain, I think I set a good example, like I said I was going to do. I think on the ice, I really showed the girls what it was like to be consistent and to also have positive energy. I was always there to lift the girls up, especially on the D side. If a girl was having a bad game or made up a bad play, I'd always be there to put her head up. And I was always, for the freshmen, I was there to communicate them and make them feel welcome. So I think I did a good job with being an assistant captain in that role I played.
Yeah, no, and just talk a little bit about the freshmen's impact that they had on the team, especially players like Sarah Boucher and Grace Nellis, who really helped your team defensively and offensively this past season.
Yeah, our freshmen did a really good job this year, especially adapting to college hockey. And their season from junior got cut short. And then they had to deal with COVID. So it was a total different experience than a normal college freshman would be. But they really did well. And Boosh, she set the bar high for the freshmen. She can put the puck in the net, which was really good. And Nell, she was amazing too. She was just so soft. She's so sweet. And she's always positive, and she brings such good energy to our team. And then the rest of our freshmen, they do the same thing. They're so easy for us to teach like new rules of the team and just bonding. They just got along with all of us so well.
Now, you're obviously used to playing well with Grace's sister, Sarah, in juniors, and then obviously throughout your career with Mercyhurst. So what was it like to being able to play with both Nella's sisters, and how different are they with playing-wise and off the ice as well?
Yeah, I love playing with both of them. They're different players for sure. I guess Sarah Nels, she's more of like hard in the corners, like she works hard in that way, and then her sister's more like she could put the puck in the net, I guess you could say. But they're both very skilled hockey players, and they're really fun to see them be sisters on the team, and like they chirp each other, but they're like best friends at the same time. Grace is very quiet, and then Sarah is more outgoing, but it's a mix of both, which is really good for our team.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And have you ever played with siblings before? Or was that your very first time? Because I think I've every time I play with siblings, I think it's a fun experience.
I'm pretty sure that's my first time. I don't think I've ever played with siblings.
Well, that's awesome. So that's pretty cool for them and for yourself to have that experience as well, especially since you're all our Stony Creek alum.
Yes.
Now, how did you go about preparing for opponents this year, especially with some of the games being uncertain? Because last time we had you on the podcast, we talked about trying to navigate through all the schedule changes. So preparing for opponents this year, was it more just focusing on your team and your team's game plan rather than watching video on the other team and trying to prepare for them that way?
So depending on who we were playing or who we thought we were playing, at the beginning of the week, we'd watch video for that team. And then our power plays, we were always changing our power plays because we really didn't know who we were playing, and their penalty kills for each team is different. And then if the team we were playing was switching, then we would obviously watch film either right before the game or the day before. And our coaches were really good at giving us film, and then we would watch it on our own so that we could review it. But I think our team and our coaches did a really good job adapting to the changes in our schedule throughout the season.
And what was the biggest improvement you've made to your game this past season?
I think my biggest improvement was definitely my consistency. I think overall, each game I was consistent, and I didn't really have that many like bad games. Like I had okay games, but there was never games where I played like terrible, which was really good and a big improvement over my years at college.
Now, your team, Mercyhurst, was one of the most consistent teams throughout the CHA regular season, being one that either in the standings number one or number two. How did you maintain that success throughout the CHA regular season with the games being so uncertain, like we just talked about?
I think our team, it was our energy. Like we bought into what our coaches wanted us to do and what each of us we each set goals for each other and for the team, and everyone bought in, sorry. So I think that was a huge key to why we are successful this past season.
Now, one particular game I want to talk to you about was the final game of the regular season when you beat Penn State in overtime to get the first round bye in the CHA playoffs. What was the message heading into that game, and what were your emotions after winning that game in overtime and getting that spot in the playoffs?
I think for us, I remember going into that game, we were like, we're not letting Penn State beat us 4 times. That has never happened in Mercyhurst history, and we didn't want to be that first team to let that happen. So we knew we had to win that game, and our coaches and all of us knew what had to be done and what would help us to win that game. And I think the girls, we all did what we had to do and we won. So I think that is really what helped us win that game.
Now, what challenges does Penn State bring? Because they were a little bit of a different team this past season compared to other seasons you played against them. So what was different about this year's Penn State team that made them so tough to play against?
Yeah, they were overall such a good team. Their goalie was good. Even though it was the same goalie, she really stepped up this year. And they have a lot of younger players that were just really skilled. And they weren't a selfish team. They all worked together, and I think that's what really made them really good this year.
Now, they didn't make the tournament this year because they lost the CHA tournament. I want to get your opinion on this. I was pretty surprised that they didn't let two teams from the CHA make the national tournament this past season. Do you think they should have made the tournament? What was your whole thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, I was really surprised too. I really thought they should have made the team. They were throughout the season nationally ranked, and they even beat top teams. So I really thought they should have been there too, but I guess there's a reason why they weren't. But they did lose in the CHAs. So we'll see. I think next year they'll be a great team too. So they'll have a chance next year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Now, was that your favorite memory throughout this your senior year, or what was your favorite memory from this past season?
My favorite memory past. Oh, I don't even. I hadn't even thought about that. Hmm. I I don't even. There's so many memories. It's just. It would probably be just being in the locker room with the girls. Like I'm definitely gonna miss that, and just all the before games, the pre games, and practice times in the change room. Like all the girls get to catch up, and if you're having a bad day, no matter what, as soon as you get in that locker room, your day changes right away. So
Mhm.
I think that's what is probably was the best part of this senior year so far.
Now, your head coach, Mike Sisti, got his 500th win this past season. I guess how cool was it to witness that in person, be a part of the team that got him his 500th win, and what was that whole experience like for you?
Oh yeah, that was really cool to be a part of because money coaches won't even ever get to that milestone. So that was really cool to be part of. And I think we're so proud of Coach to be able to be that successful and to be part of a program that is that successful. And I think leading up to his 500th win, we knew we had to win those games because we didn't want to go. I think it was before the new year, so we didn't want to go into the new year him waiting when his 500 was going to be. We wanted to start off the new year with him having those 500 wins.
Now, I want to ask you about so Mercyhurst. Looking at the team for this upcoming season, it's pretty much going to be mostly the same players. But one of your classmates is transferring to UConn, Summer Dobson. So, and she absolutely killed it last year. So, I have to ask you, what's it like seeing the success that she's having now, and what can UConn fans expect from her for the team next year?
Oh yeah, I'm so proud of Summer. She over her 4 years at Mercier, she really made an impact on the team. She can put the puck in the net, and she really helped us to win a lot of games. And she's our last CHA championship. She won the overtime goal, so she's really been a huge impact for Mercyhurst in the program. And I think the Yukon Huskies are very lucky to have her, and she'll definitely keep putting goals in for them, and maybe she'll help them lead them to some championships as well.
Now, are you planning to go back to Mercyhurst for this upcoming season? Because hopefully fans will be allowed back. I assume they will, but you never want to take anything for granted anymore. But do you plan to go back to see some of your former teammates? And how weird is it going to be for yourself watching a game from a fan perspective, not playing in it?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get back as long as the borders let Canadians back in the States. But I think if I go watch, it's going to be probably hard for me to watch hockey again because then that will really hit me that I'm not playing there anymore. So, but I'll be really happy to see my old teammates, and especially my roommate Vasco. Great to see her play hockey. But it's probably going to be hard watching everyone play, and I'm not going to be there. But yeah, I'm hoping to see them.
Well, I feel like you'll still be part of the team in spirit, whether you're there or not. And then obviously, if you show up to the game as a fan, I think a lot of your teammates will appreciate that. And I'm assuming you'll be able to see them after the game as well.
Yes, for sure.
Now, what do you overall take away from your Mercyhurst hockey career when you look back at it?
There's a lot I can take away from Merciers. Some of them is definitely time management with school and hockey. You're always on the go, and teachers really sometimes don't understand that you're going to miss class. So you have to be able to prioritize hockey at the same time as school and be able to get projects done. But also, I think another big thing I've learned at school is don't take anything for granted. I remember when I was a freshman, our seniors told you it flew by, and it really does. So I think just enjoy every moment. Like even if it's a bad day at the rink, just learn from it and take the positive out of it, because before you know it, it's going to be all over.
Now, how was online school last year? I think we talked a little bit about that off the air on the last podcast, but how'd you handle that? It seemed a bit, as a senior, I feel like that's so weird because you're so used to going to in-person classes, and then all of a sudden your final year of school, you have to make that transition online.
So I only had one online class. All my classes were in class, so I was lucky that way. But I was also we have for my business, for my finance and accounting major, we have this big project class that we take, and we weren't in our season, kept getting postponed, so we were just practicing. And I was lucky in the sense that I wasn't on the road while I was writing this massive paper, so that kind of helped me a lot. But I think overall, school really didn't change for me because I was in class.
Well, that's good to hear. And obviously, what was the key for balancing both academics and hockey, especially being a finance major? Because for some of my people that I know that are finance major, the work that you guys have is absolutely ridiculous sometimes. Like light work is just like so many papers to write for a week. So how did you balance all of that?
Yeah, we have a lot of homework in those classes I take, but I think I'm very organized, so I have tons of calendars and to-do lists. So I just check it off, and I don't try not to get overwhelmed. And each day I plan what homework I'm going to do, so that I plan out my week so that I'm not getting too ahead of myself, but I'm staying on track.
So we're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast, where I ask you some non-hockey questions. Now, this non-hockey segment is going to be a little bit different than last time because I kind of just like did some research and kind of found some questions on the internet that I think would be interesting to hear your perspective on. So my first question to you is, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Oh, that's interesting. Uh, I'd probably want Jennifer Aniston to play my part. I love her. I want to look like her one day, that's for sure.
Are you a big Friends fan? Is that part of the reason for the decision? Because that's some people have actually answered the same answered Jennifer Aniston for that as well. It's because there's big Friends fans. So
No, I'm not a bit. I think I've only watched a few episodes of Friends, but I just like her in all the movies I've watched. But yeah, I just like her as an actor and a person.
yeah, no, that's a good answer. I think for myself, it would be Pete Davidson. I think he's a very funny guy. Even though we look nothing alike, I think it would be cool to have him play me in a movie just because we have the same sense of humor.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Now, what is something you wished more people knew about yourself besides being a good hockey player?
Um, hmm. I guess that other than hockey, I love fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I fish almost every weekend, and I guess I just love being at the outdoors. Some people think I'm more of like I like shopping and stuff, but I'm also someone that I love being outdoors and being like on a farm and stuff. So like one day I would love to own like farm animals.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, fishing. I've actually never fished before, so you are probably a lot better. How do you like, because my dad never fished, so that's why I never learned. So like, how do you like have the patience to wait for like a big fish like that? Because I think that seems like from someone that's never fished before, that seems like the most challenging part of it.
Oh yeah, it's all about patience. I guess it's just relaxing for me. Like when you're on the water, like you don't even time just goes by. You don't even realize you're fishing, but you don't even realize how long you've been on the water.
Hmm. What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
The biggest fish I caught a muskie that was 17 pounds. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest fish, but I'm looking to get bigger fish.
Have you ever done deep sea fishing or just like on a lake?
No, but I want to go to Florida and do deep sea fishing.
Yeah, that looks so much fun. I have a friend that did that, and the thing he caught was so big. It was like taller than him. It was crazy some of the stuff that they fished out of there.
Jeez, yeah, I want to do that one day.
I'm a big outdoor guy myself, but I like more like kayaking or like biking and rowing, stuff like that. I think that's pretty interesting. Or like playing hockey or basketball outside. I think that's fun as well.
Yeah, that's fun too. I like kayaking too.
That's a good workout. Just an off topic, like it works out your chest, your legs, your arms. It's like I think it's like 70% of your body is worked
Yeah,
out by rowing. So that's a good workout. That's why I like doing it as well.
yeah.
Now, if you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
I would tell everyone to stay safe and hopefully COVID is going to be over before we know it, and just don't get too crazy out there. And I guess everyone do your part. And yeah, that's what I would tell everyone.
Now, if you could live anywhere, where would it be and why?
If I could live anywhere, I I know I want to retire in Florida.
Hmm.
I want to be in the warm weather all year long and near the ocean.
To be honest with you, I'd rather just stay up here in the north and live here. I like the winter season. I think it's, even though it's brutal sometimes, I like watching and playing hockey. So that would probably be like why I would stay up here. And I think it's cool to have seasons. So I think I'm more of a New England guy. I'd rather stay here. That's where I would live if I had to choose.
Nice.
Now, final non-hockey question is Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts? I'm just curious just because Dunkin' Donuts seems more like an American thing, and Tim Hortons, I've had it before, it's great. But that seems more like a Canadian thing. So I want to get your perspective on it, if you've ever tried both.
I'm definitely a Tim Hortons fan. I'm not a big coffee person, but I've been to both of them, and I guess I don't really drink coffee, so I don't know what coffee's better, but I just in general, I'm a big Tim Hortons fan. We have a Tim Hortons near Mercyhurst, and I always went there during
Uh, that's,
I think I went there like every day.
well, I've been to Tim Hortons once, and I could say it's one of the best like breakfast places I've ever been to. It's pretty awesome. But being from Boston, I have to go with Dunkin' Donuts. That's our spot. So that's what I would choose.
I guess we're
Now,
both biased.
they're both good. I think the one thing was what's it called? The Timbits. I think those were super good. I've never really had them before until I had Tim Hortons. So that was awesome.
Mhm.
Is he like apparently Tim Hortons was a real hockey player? Did he create the restaurant, or did they just name it after?
Yeah, he used to live near like 20 minutes from where I live now.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
it was named after him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Well, back to some hockey questions now. And my first question to you is, what are your thoughts on the podcast since we last had you on?
I think you're doing an amazing job, and you're definitely doing a great job promoting women's hockey, which we need more of that. And I love the people you keep having on. And yeah, you're doing a really good job.
Now I have to ask you, is there any guests that we should have on in the future? We've had Vasco on before, and we had a couple of your Mercyhurst teammates on. So is there anyone that I might have not had on the podcast that we should have on, whether they play for Mercyhurst or for another college team?
Um, well, I'm, hmm, do they have to play college hockey?
No, they could former
I think
players as
you should
well.
have on Sarah Fillier.
Hmm.
She plays at Princeton, but she's at the Team Canada national team right now, and she'd be really fun to have on. She's one of the younger girls, and she gets to play with all the Olympians right now. So I think that's someone that a lot of the younger girls will keep looking up to, and they would love to hear from.
Yeah, no, that's actually like my most. If I could ever have a guest on, that would be Sarah Fillier. I've always wanted to talk to her before, so maybe I could find a way to get her on after the World Championships or probably after the Olympics, because I know she's part of that centralization roster when she's probably
Yeah.
a little less busier.
Mm-hmm. She'd be good to have on.
Definitely, definitely. Well, what are some things you took away from your interview when we last had you on? I'm curious. I felt like I did a pretty solid job, but obviously I'd like to say I've improved a little bit since then.
I think something what I took away from the other interview is personally, I think the questions you asked made me reflect on myself, which was really good. Especially you asked me what type of leader I want to be. I think that made me, after I got the podcast, reflect on what type of leader I actually want to be and to actually stick to it. So I think the questions you asked are really good, and they really make you think out of the box, and they really put myself to a higher standard. So I think you do a good job in that sense.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. It really means a lot to me. Now, before the interview ends, I guess I have to ask you, is there anything you would like to talk about? The floor is all yours, or maybe another shout out. I know we mentioned some of your family members, but if there's anyone you might have forgotten to mention throughout the interview, feel free to shout them out now.
I think if I have anything else to say, I think everyone should just stay positive and keep believing in yourself and dream big.
Awesome. Well, that's definitely a great way to end off the interview, and I totally agree with you on that. So thank you once again, Rachel, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I admire you a lot as a player. You know that you're one of my favorite college hockey players, but you're also an even better person off the ice, and I just want to let you know that. So take care, stay safe, and thank you so much. This really means a lot to me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy your podcast and have a great summer.
Now, you can